We're playing that game again. Will it pop or will it not? And it didn't. It just fizzed disappointingly. Good thing is, the taste is anything but that. The taste is great. Cheers, fellas. My name is Radu. I'm a street photographer from Romania. This is 1,000 words, my little corner of YouTube where I make videos like this. And today I want to talk to you about my favorite camera, the Fujifilm X-T2. Oh, sorry. The Fujifilm X-T3. Let me explain. Now, I did mention in my previous video the 5 little things that bug me about the Fujifilm X-T2, that it was my favorite camera ever, and that I never had as much fun shooting a camera as I did shooting this one, and that certainly still holds true. However, truer still is the fact that there were some things that irked me, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Stuff that grinds my gears, to quote a famous cartoon character. And those are all handled and dealt with in the Fujifilm X-T3. Those and much more are beautiful, wonderful, fantastic improvements of an already great camera. Now, this one served me well for more than a couple of, almost half a year. Bought it in July, at the end of July, and we're now nearing the mid to late November, which makes it about, 5 months that I've been using this. And I've had a blast using it, but there were some things that I wanted addressed, were the reasons why I decided to sell this. And this is actually not mine anymore. It has already sold on eBay, and I'm going to ship it tomorrow morning together with the 50mm f2, which I don't necessarily need all that much. I'm not much of a portrait shooter. I will probably buy an 56 f1.2 at some point in the future, but right now its purpose was to raise money and put it towards upgrading to this wonderful hunking piece of a camera. This is my new favorite camera in the world. And in this video, I'm going to give you my first impressions of it. Now, I've only had this since yesterday. It's not even 24 hours since I've had it. And I didn't get to do much shooting with it, just a couple of snaps here and there of my wife and my daughter. But other than that, I didn't do any photography with it. However, I did fiddle with it a lot. I configured it to my liking. I put a few Fujifilm recipes into it off of Fuji Weekly. I customized it the way I like it, and I already have opinions about it. First up, and basically one of the 2 main reasons why I decided I wanted this camera is the handling, the build, the construction, with one caveat. Now, these 2 are very, very similar. In a lot of ways, they're more similar than they are different. However, the differences are important and in some aspects substantial. One point where there are significant differences is in the way these dials and buttons and wheels are built. everything is better. Every button is better. All the hassles, all my pet peeves from the previous model have been resolved. These color rings that sport the photometry settings and the drive settings are taller with bigger, easier to grip tabs. The shutter and ISO dials are slimmer, however, they're much easier to operate, being slightly tapered at the top, and they feel much nicer, really much nicer. The shutter button and the on-off switch feels like it's premium quality. All the buttons on this side are taller, very easy to find without looking, with confident, significant clicks. The command dials, both the front and the back command dials, are really clicky, really sturdy. They are stiff but easily usable, and stiff not in a negative way. And they have very precise, very confident and comfortable clicks. Everything as far as buttons goes is much, much better. It seems the weather sealing is much improved as well. There's quite a bit of rubber padding on the insides of this car door. The body is extremely well built. However, and this is part one of the caveat I mentioned, compared to the X-T2, ergonomically it's the same. However, this feels, I'm not talking about the buttons, I'm talking about the housing, the body as well. The X-T2 feels better. It really feels better in a way that makes it feel more durable, although they're both supposed to have magnesium bodies. I bought this locally, and there were two X-T3s in my town. I went to see them both yesterday, and one of them was the black one, and one of them was this one. For the longest time, I claimed I much prefer black as far as electronics and gear goes, and that still holds true mostly. I did decide to go for the silver version because the black version I saw yesterday, while still in great shape, it was not nearly as good as this. This silver version was practically brand new, sporting a shutter count of 930 with just a few of the tiniest scuffs you can imagine. This is practically brand new. It's in impeccable condition, and you can't beat a shutter count of 930. Now, I won't get into the debate of whether or not the shutter count on Fuji cameras is accurate or believable, but it's right there in the EXIF data. What's there not to believe? Yeah, I know it can sometimes reset if the internal battery dies, but the guy told me before checking he only used it for video a couple of times and shot less than 1,000 shots with it. And the condition it's in certainly seems to confirm that. It's practically brand new, which is the reason why I went for the silver version instead of the black version. Now, as far as build quality, they're both, both the black and the silver and the X-T2 supposed to feature the same extremely well-built magnesium alloy body. However, I am under the firm impression, it's almost certainty at this point, that the top and bottom plate on the silver version is plastic as opposed to metal, or rather magnesium, on the black one, which makes it slightly less durable and certainly more prone to visible wear. That said, I still decided to go for the silver version because it was in otherwise fantastic condition. And the other X-T3 I saw yesterday seemed to have a slightly looser and flimsier and mushier and spongier feeling shutter button, and this is just excellent. Now, everybody knows the X-T2 is the last X-T ever built in Japan. And that was something the snob in me always thought of as a kind of an issue, because I am a snob. I am superficial when it comes to the state my gear is in. I simply can't stand extremely worn out and battered and torn and scuffed and bumped and ugh. I want my gear to be in as good as a condition as I possibly can have it in. So I always thought I would be downgrading as far as quality goes by going for a China built body. That doesn't seem to be the case. This feels at least as good as the Japan-made X-T2. It feels at least as sturdy, as well built, as dense and substantial. It is about 30 grams heavier. It is a few millimeters taller. But other than that, they're very, very, very similar in more ways than they are different. And the differences are in the quality of the dials, the controls, and the buttons. I was also very pleased to find that the X-Trans 4 sensor is a much less prone to hot and stuck pixels, something that kind of bugged me with the X-T2. I eventually learned to live with it, but it always sat wrong with me how much of an issue it actually was. And it's not just my opinion. A lot of other people have reported that the X-T2 is very, very prone to hot and stuck pixels. Sure, you can do the pixel remapping thing, but I don't think a camera of this pedigree should have stuck pixels like that. This doesn't seem to have stuck pixels at all. This sensor seems to be pristine, and stuck pixels are most apparent at high ISOs and or long shutter speeds. And I did a very brief, albeit, test with the X-T3, and there doesn't seem to be any hot stuck pixels, and I'm very happy with it. I was happy to find Eterna, which seems like is going to be my favorite film recipe to use on this one. And yeah, it's as far as I'm concerned, if this doesn't break, if this doesn't get lost or stolen or broken, I see myself using this forever. Seriously. I'm very much a stills shooter. This is a stills camera. I know it's kind of like almost wasting half of its potential, because it's a brilliant, fantastic video camera with a 400 megabyte codec, ability to shoot at 4K 60, 4:2 externally and 4:0 internally. It's a beast of a video camera. However, my needs as far as video goes are very limited, and certainly met by this wonderful guy right here, the Osmo Pocket. So I'm going to be shooting this as a stills camera only. Some may claim that it's not much of an upgrade. However, I already noticed much snappier, much more confident autofocus, especially when talking about face detection and eye detection. It's a lot more sure of itself. It does very little hunting, and it's something I can truly feel like I can rely on. It's really, really a beast of a camera, and I see myself using this forever. And really, as far as I'm concerned, I see no need to ever upgrade. Well, perhaps the X-T6 might come along and sway me, but judging by the current lineup of Fuji cameras, I would only consider side grading to the XE lineup. Let me tell you very briefly why. First of all, I'm not very big into the whole rangefinder optical viewfinder thing, so the X Pro, coupled with the fact that their screens don't, except for the X Pro 3, which is notorious for breaking, their screens don't tilt. That kind of disqualifies them for me from the get-go. The XH line is very much bigger and chunkier, and the main reason why I went for Fuji in the first place was to downsize on weight, volume and size, so no XHs for me, plus the fact that I won't necessarily be using half of their features, like their insanely fast and deep buffers. That's not something I need. Now, for obvious reasons, I'm not considering their X-T10s and 100s lineup. What of the X-T4 and X-T5, you might ask? Now, the X-T4 has the exact same sensor as this one, and the only upgrades are as far as the battery goes, and I already have 5 batteries, which is enough for 2 days of shooting the way I shoot. And in-body image stabilizing, which I don't find it all that necessary anymore, seeing how I'm mainly just shooting stills. And if that wasn't alone a reason to not consider the X-T4, the fact that its screen flips out like this, it's something that immediately disqualifies it for me. I just don't like that kind of screen on my cameras. I much prefer this section. It's in line on axis with the lens. It's much more discreet. It doesn't double the footprint of the lens, and this thing is just fantastic. The X-T5 then, I'm really set aback by the multiple reports of coating peeling on the eyepiece, and the fact that people claim it feels very cheap in hand. It's supposed to be very plasticky. It's supposed to be breaking more often than it should. Their 40 megapixel sensor doesn't resolve all that well on a lot of the Fuji lenses, and it's supposed to fare slightly worse as far as high ISO. So that disqualifies the X-T5 for me as well. Which brings me to the X-T3. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best I can want in a Fuji camera. Perhaps one day I might, just for fun and giggles, pick up an X-T2, an X-T3. Not so sure about the X-T4, but I do find the X-T2 and X-T3 kind of cute and desirable as a throw-around camera, something I can maybe hand to my daughter when she comes of age and can handle electronics, let's say. I haven't even used this properly. It's just about 20 hours since I've had it, and I already love it. I am enamored with it, and I'm totally and incurably a Fujifilm fanboy. This has been pretty much it. Like, comment down below, subscribe, press the bell, throw a buck or two down my way if you're feeling generous. Use the PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee links down below. Until next time, this has been Radu. This has been 1000 Words. This has been my first impressions of the X-T3. Farewell.